Good evening and welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting for November 27th. Anybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And good evening and welcome. Any announcements from the board? Sensing none, we'll move on. Any additions or deletions to the agenda we need?
Not from me, Mr. Chairman.
I'm requesting a deletion. I don't see it. It's under old business, 10A.
Yeah.
I'd like to rescind that. My
Okay.
motion on that.
All right, so we will delete, if everybody's amenable to that, we will delete.
Do you need a motion on that, or?
No, I think we're all set.
Okay.
It was tabled at the last meeting, so.
All right.
All right. We do have an appointment tonight. We get the presentations of the town audit. We have Ron Smith here from R.H.R. Smith Company, right? To present the town audit, or at least give us an overview of what I'm expected of. Yep, get into all the detail, but Ron, the floor is yours.
Good evening. I don't know when the last time I was in this building. It's been a while, but it's good to be back for sure. So I think you guys all have in front of you a draft of your 2018 audit. So I'm Ron Smith. I'm the principal with R.H.R. Smith and Company. We do a lot, 25, a third of all the municipalities in the state of Maine. So I can certainly talk a lot about who you are, what you're doing, and answer any questions that you guys have for sure, you know, based upon applying it to Waterboro terms. So,
Okay.
Hitting the highlights of it, the town had about $5.2 million worth of assets against liabilities and obligations of about $1 million, which leaves you with about $4.1 million in fund balance, carryover balance, and all the other terms. I'm on page 16.
Okay.
This is probably the most important page of the document. So on page 16, and the number I just referenced was the second number up, first column, $4.1 million. I'm going to spend it for you. You had about $1.4 million worth of committed fund balance, of which about 1.2 was your crisis fund that you have by charter. You have $800,000 that you use for tax relief in your 2019 budget. I think this year, for this year that we're presenting, was about $500,000 in 2018, which leaves you with the money that's not tied down to anything or your pure undesignated fund balance of about $1.8 million. Last year, it was about a little more than $2.3 million, so it went down about $450,000. That was planned. You guys thought that you were going to need $500,000 to keep your tax rate where it was at, you know, for your 2018 budget. It actually came in about $50,000 better, than where you expected when you put your 2018 budget together. Largely in part because your excise tax, I believe, was over $100,000 over estimation, for fiscal year 2018. So that's the good news. Where we like to see you, the industry benchmarks nationally are 30 to 60 to 90 days of your operating budget, which in Waterboro terms is about $14 million of an operating budget. So 30 days or 8% of that would be about $1.1 million. 60 days would be about $2.2 million, and 90 days would be $3.3 million. Where are you? You're at about $1.8, $1.9 million. So you're at probably somewhere around 50 days, of your fund balance. So, and that's a good balance to be at, for sure. And what makes it a good balance to be at is that you've got this crisis fund, which is outlined in your charter. And I can remember some of its birthrights, but not all of it. And Gary and I were talking before. And one of the things that I would probably say, because those funds are supposed to be identified and segregated, uniquely from all your other funds of the town. They clearly are. It's clearly committed, in your balance forward. It's not like we're telling you, that you have that money available. You do. But for your crisis fund, one of the things that I would do going forward, and I think it's always been presented this way, I think that to say that you've got $4.1 million might be, skewing exactly what you've got. Pull that crisis fund down. I was telling Gary, I'd put it out and pull it with your special revenue funds, like some of your other reserve funds, because that's what it is, really. And it really will drop that $4.1 million down to about $2.9 million. And I think that, the other column, certainly in your special revenue fund, which would be in the next column next to the one I just talked about, that'll go up by 1.2. And I think that that's a cleaner, clearer presentation, of your crisis fund. And that would be one piece of advice. Why it was done that way, I don't think that it's any violation. I think that certainly it meets the standards of what your charter is. I would just keep it clean and just keep that separate from your general fund, and not have to commit it. So in that way, everything in that column is all 100% general fund. So yeah. I think financially, Waterboro is exactly where you expected to be, exactly where you were, a little bit better as of 6/30/2017. I think your position's is better, so. As far as any other things in this document, another thing that I would clearly do, is when people say, wow, we got $4.1 million and you take that 1.2 of your crisis fund out of the equation, that's all you got. I mean, you've got a couple $100,000 set away in various reserve funds, salt, sand, rescue, and, equipment reserves, etc. That's not a lot of money. It's not. And I think coming up with some kind of a calculated capital plan, I think is certainly what I would do if I were you all. And I definitely would say that that's a mechanism that should be funded through future budgets. You clearly have the money to reallocate and dedicate towards something like that. And as you put your budget together for 2019, I'd look forward to 2020.
1920.
As you put that budget together, I'd very much look forward to helping you out with that. And statutes give you many options on how to fund and set up capital reserve funds. You, as selectmen, certainly are the gatekeepers, of that fund by statute. And I just think that that's something that I would do as well.
Does that take a town vote to create?
So it'd take a town vote to fund it.
Just like
because,
anything
again,
else.
Yeah, just like anything else. There's some immunities once it gets funded. But just like anything else, and I think that really what's going to drive your funding, of it is some kind of a plan. Some kind of hey, we need a truly a dedicated capital reserve for town office, for roof, for whatever fire. I think that that's certainly something that having in writing and having some kind of a mechanism to look at your people and say, here's why we're coming up with this number and why we're going to put $100,000 away a year, and here's how we're going to put it, and here's where it's going to go, and here's what the intentions are using it for. I think that that's the way to show your people what you're doing and how you're doing it. And the statute's pretty clear, on how you can do it. So.
Do you work for Shapley?
Do I work for who?
Shapley.
We do not work for Shapley.
They've been very good at putting away money when they need to buy a dump truck or a big expensive something. They
Yeah.
pay cash.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't do that. If I was Shapley and doing business with them, I would not pay cash for a dump truck. You don't use short-term money for long-term investments. So that'd be my advice. If you were all sitting here from Shapley, I'd be giving you that for advice. And the nice thing about Waterboro, what you've been able to do, you're pretty debt-free. At this town, you don't have a lot of debt. And that's why I say if I had to give you a grade financially, I'd give you a B+. For sure. But I think that, with that money, that fund balance, that carryover, I definitely would probably come up with some kind of a spending plan, certainly for that, because I don't think it's going to take long. If that that crisis fund, when you think about the intent of that, phone rings, hey, roof's gone on town office, got to replace it. There's your crisis fund right there. Same with the other phone rings. They're when that phone rings, usually it's an expensive answer, to that phone. And I think to have some kind of a plan and anticipate what would happen if that phone were to ring and where that money would need to be allocated to, that's where I really think that you would definitely change the presentation of your general fund balance and give it some new names.
The important thing for selectmen and the townspeople to realize is that capital reserve fund does not need to be carried forward in an article.
No, it doesn't. It's dedicated. It's perpetual and rolls forward by statute.
Yep.
So, And I'd argue the same with your crisis fund, too. I just need to see the birthrights of that crisis fund. I actually remember when that was birthed, and all the talk and discussion that went into it. I just need to read read your charter again, just to refresh my memory on that crisis fund. And
It's two sentences,
yeah, it's two sentences.
if you want to read it.
Yeah, it just says that there shall be a designated fund that's equal to 1/12 of the,
Yeah,
annual
and
budget.
that's it. So I know that Chris probably said, does that meet the passes? Absolutely. That is a designated fund, but clearly that's a designated fund in your general fund, and that's why hence the word commitment, and I would just put it out of there. It's got a name, it's got a birthright, put it out there and put it in another column. That's what I would do. But at the same time, look at other needs that you have as well. So.
Okay. Any major findings or anything?
There was only one, and Gary was talking about the management letter, so I'll certainly look into that. The only one that I recall, certainly there was an incomplete I-9 or 2, that wasn't completely filled out. So other than that, I don't believe that there was anything of major conversation to certainly say we've got some problems here in Waterboro, so.
Why are you guys checking I-9?
What's that?
Why are you guys
Payroll
checking I-9?
payroll compliance, I'll tell you, it's like the worst
It's
friggin'
part of
thing
the
now.
payroll.
Oh my God, I'll tell you, payroll compliance is like the big thing now in audits. So that's one of the things that we look for in payroll compliance is that every employee on file will randomly select and test, and we'll also look at the paperwork that they file with them, and I believe 1, maybe 2, were lacking a complete I-9, so.
I went through the document. I didn't have any corrections or red marks in there. You've answered my questions, and we'll get that letter back to you so the draft watermark can come off
I
this.
think there might be just one highlight in here, the debt for SAD 57. So we just need to update that in here, because if something
That's in
happens-
yellow.
Yeah, if something happens to SAD 57, you're contingently responsible, for their debt, and that number just needs to be updated.
The other one you probably get, because I know ecomaine sends it out, is the landfill closure
Exactly.
commitment.
Yeah, so yeah, but those are, and I actually think that they got the SAD 57 information, so.
You've got some yellow in PERS as well.
Yeah, but I think we've gone on and actually updated some of that, and the only one that I remember was the SAD 57, but I think they got that one as of last week.
Okay. Actually, it's not PERS, it's the 401K.
Well, it's interesting, because they're quick to say that we don't own any of the buildings, but
Yeah.
Who's this?
SAD 57.
But you own the debt. You own how they got put up, that's for sure. That's an easy conversation.
$14.7 million.
Yeah, about $14 million worth of infrastructure you own over there. Yeah.
But we can't vote there. I don't have any other questions, on members of the board.
Anything, folks? That was easy. Come
You
on.
do. Hey, listen, have me back. I'll look forward to talking with you, Gary, and and certainly if you, Julie, have any questions, by all means, I'll take the point from going forward. But I'd be interested in talking to you as you prepare your 1920 budget, just about reallocation, possibly of some of these reserve funds, and this crisis. The crisis fund's pretty general, like you say, 2 sentences, and I think that we definitely meets the test of it, but it might be something clearly to look at presentation.
So is Erica going to be taking the lead here?
Erica's gonna come in, but yeah, she'll be under my wing, so, yeah.
Okay. Thank you for coming down.
Hey, listen, glad to be here.
Appreciate it.
It's what I do, so.
So we're, probably ought to get it cleaned up, and then we can vote. to accept it.
Yeah, I don't think you need to vote tonight. It's not pressing, so.
Okay,
Anything else?
Travel
It might be
safely.
what we'll do. Thank you.
Thank you.
thanks, Ron. Good seeing you again.
Good seeing you all.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for letting me come work on that phone.
Okay. There's no one here from the public, so we'll skip to number 6. Correspondence, we get the treasurer's reports and the ecomaine recycling reports for 2018. If anybody's interested in reviewing them, they would be in the this week's packet. Or you can call Sherry, and I'm sure that we'll get a copy to you. Reports and staff initiatives. Selectman Tim, anything?
Well, Gary will probably talk about it, but the auction on the 17th went great. Every single piece of property moved. Gary and Dwayne were the auctioneers, and this room was filled to capacity. And it was just a really smooth operation. I think having no minimum bid and having signs put up for the abutters really made a big difference.
Good. Anything, Ted? Gordon?
No.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. I did do the EcoMaines meeting last week. They decided not to implement any recycling charges in the middle of the year. So those will change along with the rates, but that will be a 2020 fiscal year.
So even to those towns that are still sending waste with lots of contamination?
Everybody is being dealt with individually. So as long as we're where we're at, we're in good shape.
The last two loads were at 0 or 1%, so thanks to everybody who's been separating their recycling, doing a great job.
Right. Okay. Gary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and folks at home, and the few folks that are here. We have 600 of these ecomaine recycling containers. We're going to give them away, preferably one per household. There's a few here at Town Hall. There's a great many at the transfer station, so pick them up when you can put them to use. They're good size, they're a little taller than most, so they're available here. We have a situation I just want to let the Board of Selectmen know. We had a problem today with Tommy's plow truck, and now that we have a 3/4 ton Ford pickup truck, David and I were talking about why shouldn't we at least get the pricing for putting a plow on that Ford pickup, because today we did not have our one and only plow truck for about 5 hours. So we would at least get a mount and be able to switch the plow, but the plow broke today. So I think we'll look at putting an entire plow package on that to have a backup plow vehicle, which we do not have right now. The other thing I want to talk about is coming up in the next budget, and this picture right here says it all. We're going to need to find a new contractor for hauling our waste. D&E's going out of business, as I think we all know. But on Sundays, they will not respond to help us. So we're going to try and find somebody in the short run to send somebody over to move cans. But this is what happens. The can was changed on Saturday, and this is, I think, Sunday afternoon. And this is just unacceptable. So don't be surprised if David and I present to you a figure for buying a second-hand truck that can swap cans down at the transfer station. The town has talked about that in the past, about quote-unquote starting a business and being able to handle our own trash and move it to ecomaine and maybe do that for other people as well. But I'd like to start just being able to prevent this, because this just is not good, and I think this is just unacceptable. So stay tuned, and that'll be part of the budget discussion. That's the only reason I had David put this picture up here, is to talk about that truck in the future. We're looking at probably somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 for a second-hand vehicle. David doesn't recommend we look at any of D&E's because they're kind of old or older, but it's an idea to consider anyway in the next budget process. And that's it from me. We've got some other things that you'll hear from me on in terms of the quitclaim deeds, but that's later.
Have you looked into what a new truck would cost?
Yeah, I think it would be $1.50 or $200,000. Pretty expensive.
Yeah, I'm thinking, you buy used, if you really have to look around, because if you get one that you're gonna have to dump money into it, it's nothing but a cash cow.
Oh, I've always preferred to buy new, but if all we're gonna do is move cans, we've got to decide what we're gonna do with it. Are we gonna, once we pick that can up, are we gonna take it right to ecomaine? Or are we just gonna move it out of the way and put another can in there and let our contractor do the hauling? That's a question that we can ask. I mean, if we've got 2 drivers right now, and maybe we'd hire another one on a as-needed basis.
I think the debate will have to be, do we want something just to manage the transfer station?
Yes.
when it's open to move cans and those kind of things. And the other question is, do we want to consider doing our own hauling? And, you know, there are other municipalities that have bought trucks and they haul their own. Can be done through the course of the week. It doesn't all have to be done when a can is full, because we got multiple cans, so that, in fact, I think D&E does the same thing. They haul Monday, Tuesday, and whatever it has to be to ecomaine.
When that picture was up on the screen, there were 2 empty cans at the transfer station.
Yeah. So it's a matter of, and we'll have to make that decision. Do we want to, you know, Dean has been our hauling contract of how many years, and, you know, his business is for sale, so I'm not sure what that means, but it's very obvious that he probably wouldn't entertain extending the contract with us.
No.
And I think he's been open with that, so it's time we make a decision. We either look for someone else that just hauls, or hauls and moves around cans, but that has to be part of the understanding, so. And I do believe that that's in the current contract, but it's a matter of getting someone available to do that.
Yeah, and he just will not provide Sunday service at this time.
So that is a big question mark, and I think, you know, to Ron's point, you get back to that, I think it probably is time to look at the grand picture here and look at all of the, you know, the future needs of the fire department, of the road department, of everybody else, and start to line up everything that looks like it may or may not need to be replaced from a capital standpoint.
We created a new template. Laura Fish helped with that. Started with the fire, but I think it's going to be able to do all the other departments as well. So we're working on that.
But it's a decision we'll have to make. Okay? We're gonna bypass the audit report until Ron gets back to us with a finished product. And item B is discuss and vote to approve municipal quitclaim deeds. I'm assuming these were all processed or as a result of the 2 weeks ago Saturday's auction?
No. Nope.
Okay, they're not.
These are others.
Or someone that came in and paid.
That's correct.
Right, okay.
Yep. The first one here, map 3, lot 50A, is headed to a closing, and in order to pass clean title at that closing, a relative came in and paid up. And this is an easy one that is ready to go. Why don't we take these, for the moment anyway, one by one?
All right, so I need a
no issue
motion to
with this.
approve the municipal quitclaim deed for map 3, lot 50A.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Gary kind of gave us a background on that, so, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Now, this one is an odd duck, and I talked to Dennis about map 27, lot 5. This is that skinny lot down on 202. We burned a building on it. It's not far from Dearborn's pit entrance. We burned the building, I think it was a good 2 years ago. Some people came in and paid off all the taxes, about $6,000 on the Thursday or Friday before the auction. And this happens, not all that frequently, but people do come and pay the taxes on people's property, and they have no interest in the property whatsoever. They're doing a nice deed. Well, I assumed at the time that Mr. Harris of Harris Turkey Farm was interested in the property because he wanted to have a mobile food cart there and sell his wares at times on Route 202. And I just assumed that he would be talking with the owners of the property and working out a purchase and sale agreement to buy the property from them. Because when Mr. Harris came in and paid the taxes on this land, he was paying taxes for somebody else that is now going to get clear title by a quitclaim deed back. And yesterday, I spoke with Mr. Harris, and he doesn't even know these people. He thought he was buying the property or buying some interest in the property when he came in and paid the back taxes. That's a big mistake on his part. So you folks have two avenues here. One is we can consider that money, it's been paid, we've cashed the check. I mean, taxes are paid up. And if we quitclaim this back to the previous owners, first of all, the deceased gentleman's family doesn't want the land, but they could get it back and then work with the Harrises to buy it. Or the other avenue is we give a refund to the Harrises and then sell this land at another auction in the future. I don't really care. I think it was an honest mistake.
Yeah, my suggestion is the cleanest way is to refund and go that way, but whatever you guys are.
We have another interested buyer in Dearborn's. They're very interested in owning that property. So we've got two people that are interested in buying it. I don't know if they'd pay $6,000 for it, but if we do this and give it back to the
Yeah,
Whitworth
you might
family,
not get the $6,000 that paid off all the taxes, you know, when you sell it.
that's right.
So
Yeah.
that's the only risk, but as far as I'm concerned, you need to get it back on the tax rolls, and this is not gonna do it easily by taking his money and saying thank you very much, and then sending a quitclaim deed to the heirs of,
That have no interest in the
Right.
property. So my recommendation is to do nothing with this, and then, if it's okay with you, and I don't really need a vote on this, I think we can, but if you want to vote, you can. We'll refund the Harrises the money and then move to putting this on the next auction.
that would be my suggestion. I don't know if you guys wanna vote.
I'd make that as a motion.
I'll second that.
Then moved and seconded to refund the check paid on map 27 lot 005 to Harris. you
Harris
said?
Turkey Farm.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
Thank you. These next two, you could vote as one block if you wish. Essentially, the next one, map 42, lot A, 131, was paid by a mortgage company, and then neither of these were an auction. And I don't know if Julie has any other information on the next one, map 44, lot 2277, but suffice to say, they've just been paid in full, and the quitclaim is valid to do. This is not auction related.
Okay. What's your pleasure? Map 42 lot 00A 131 and map 44 lot 2227, 277.
I move to approve both.
Okay.
Second that motion.
Been moved and seconded to approve map 42 lot A 131 and map 44 lot 277. All those in favor?
4-0, thank you.
And map 55 lot 25 is the last one.
Did you mean,
Story on that one.
oh, I don't
Matt.
have a story. on
Map
that.
55
You don't
lot,
have any of the documents. You have them all.
No, this was not part of the auction.
No, I understand, but I don't have the documents. When I give it, well, everything I have with it. I would presume it's just somebody's paid the taxes.
so it's been paid.
Yes, sir.
Lien's cleared.
Yes.
So we need to issue a quitclaim deed, right?
That's, yes,
And we've got that here.
yes.
That's the church.
Oh, okay.
Good church.
Now I'm thinking where 55 is, that's the church.
That's right, Back Street. We had 3 mobile homes that could have been auctioned. We chose not to because these folks don't have much money, and now that the homestead exemption is on their property, they're essentially not gonna have much of a tax bill at all going in the future. So this lady's church was nice enough to come in and pay the back taxes, and that's what this one is for, getting her current. And going forward, her tax bill will be next to nothing because of the homestead exemption.
So it is owned by someone.
The same owner,
The taxes were paid from a charitable
Correct.
church organization.
yes.
Make a motion, we approve that.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
4-0, thank you.
All right. Anything else under, and there's some other issues that are gonna be taken care of because of the auction, but you're working those, right?
And you had 2 more come in and pay up? Yesterday, today?
Today,
Today? So on December 11th, we'll probably have some more of these.
I would hope so, if I can
Yeah.
get all the paperwork done.
Is it just those 2, or are there others that have paid?
There's a lot that's already paid, we probably have got close to a dozen of them that's paid.
Some of them paid in full that day, right? Because
Yes,
the
sir.
amount was so small.
We're not pushing through until after the December 7th, because Shirley can't do the abatements until then, we know when they're paid.
Okay.
Okay,
So how do we stand now with municipal debris, so to speak? We get any more of these that are, we're at 0? We got all the properties that are,
All the properties that day sold. We've got,
Every single property.
well, what we've done tonight, and there's one other that Dwayne bid on. We've got some issues to work through that might not go through. But that day, we sold them all. We've got these 2 to pull off. But we did very well. I mean, how many of these went for $100? 3 or 4?
More than that, yes. I didn't bring, I'm sorry, I didn't know you was gonna ask that, I brought everything with
Yeah.
me.
so they're gonna pay more in taxes now than they paid for the lot, basically.
And I mean, some of these have running water, and I don't mean underground, I mean a stream on them.
Right, they're unbuildable. The
These-
stream
these are-
runs right through the middle of
These
the
are
property.
wetlands. And fine, we'll sell them to them for $100. And we did, which is, I was very thankful. We had-
So it, in essence, cleaned anything up, the only open one issue is the one that Dwayne bid on, right?
Yeah, and we've got other lots in Lake Arrowhead, and I think that would probably be a workshop. You guys may have some more history there. We own a bunch up there, but we've owned them for quite some time.
Well, there were 95 original swap pool lots, and I think we've attempted a couple of times to sell those to abutters, but we probably could become more aggressive in that, but we ought to take a look at everything that we own up there, and, because some of these that were sold, you're gonna get back, because even though they bought them for $100, they're not gonna pay taxes on them, and then
3 years from now, we may auction
you're
them
gonna be
again.
auctioning them off later. I think for all practical purposes, to answer Gordon's question, it's a pretty clean slate at this point.
except for the Lake Arrowhead lots.
Yeah. So,
Just before Beaver Dam Road on New Dam, where that double nasty curve is there, we own parcels there, and we would not want to sell those if we ever want to straighten that road.
there was
We
a
won't keep
deal
those.
made back in the 90s for those 2 lots. We gave other lots for those lots in anticipation of straightening that road out. But you'd have to go back and, it's, I can remember it was a town meeting in the 90s sometime that we did that, but I don't remember all the detail.
Is there
Jen?
anything that states that we have to wait for 3 years? Because other municipalities do it every year?
Yeah, I think we have just precedent more than anything else, that we've waited 3 years. I guess the real question, and maybe, we look at that once the new year starts, of, okay, what do we have that's 2 years delinquent, 2 years delinquent, rather than wait for the 3rd year? What if we did it after 2 years? Or, ultimately, you could get it back after 1, but,
Right, because I know there's other municipalities, because it's come up at the state meetings, that they they do it
I
every
think,
year.
I think it used to be, years and years ago, they had 3 matured tax liens.
Right.
That law, I think, has long since sailed. So you could do it after 1, but then you're getting into a lot of,
Plus, as of December, we've got a lot more to look at.
right. So maybe we take a look at it after December and say, now how many new ones have come on,
Right.
and back it up a year or 2 and say, okay, what if we took care of, what if we cut it down to 2 years? Because that's on us, that's just a precedent that we've
Okay.
got.
I wasn't sure, so that's why I wanted to ask.
Yeah, I just as soon do it more frequently rather than,
I think if you did it every year, I think then you start to get into a lot of paperwork for just to shuffle paperwork, but anyway,
People that are just chronically late but can
Right.
pay.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything on the Belleville
No,
front?
not from me. Mr. Poirier had been there with Jimmy, but when I talked to Jimmy, this is a week and a half ago now, he did not have any numbers.
Didn't Poirier say if they took the roof off, he wasn't gonna touch the building anyway?
That's what Dwayne said the
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
selectmen's meeting.
Yeah, because, I mean, what's gonna hold the thing together if you take the roof off?
Right.
The four walls are gonna
Big
fall down.
straps.
Oh, yeah, sure. Not gonna happen.
Haven't you ever watched that show on Discovery or whatever?
The redneck channel, where they'll throw a couple of bungee cords around it or something.
All right, so no update
Yeah, when
on
they're gonna
that.
do that, I'll be out of town.
Okay. Well, it's only gotta go a few yards.
So the wind's blowing the right way.
Other stuff, discuss vote to approve the minutes of the November 13th regular meeting. You were here at that meeting, I think
I was
Oh,
absent.
the 23rd.
I think
Yes.
Gordon was not here. So one of you other two have to.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? That would be a 3-0-1 vote. Pending decisions, week's action list, I think we've got squared away on that. We're wrapping this whole calendar year up. That doesn't mean that the good news is we're going into the budget season with a full budget committee, right?
Yes. Sherry, what do we have for budget, agenda items for December 11th on your plate? Got anything in you?
We had something, right? Did we put on, the discussion around E-Jane, if she brings in what she's looking for.
Oh, yeah.
Other than that, the items needing signature tonight would be the minutes of the 13th and the Municipal Quitclaim Deeds. David's running the reminders,
5 things.
and
Just for me.
guess that must be cool.
What is
Other than that,
What is this for?
I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second it.
All those in favor? Good night.